Morning, Judge Amano. Tim Luis-Kwan and Pete Minot on behalf of the applicant, University of Hawaii Hilo.
Thank you.
Kealoha Pisciotta.
Good morning, Ms. Pisciotta.
Good morning. On behalf of Kealoha Pisciotta, Mauna Kea Naina Ho, and Kumu Paul Nevis. And here with me is
Ms. Von Gogh.
Is Kale. Yes, mahalo.
All right.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Judge. Deb Ward here.
Good morning, Ms. Ward.
Good morning, Judge Amano, Euclid Aluli for Kahea.
Thank you, Ms. Aluli. Good morning.
Good morning, Clarence Kahookahi Ching, pro se present.
Thank you, Mr. Ching.
Aloha, Kalani Flores on behalf of the Flores case Ohana. Aloha.
Good morning, Mr. Flores. Aloha.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ross Shinyama on behalf of TMT International Observatory.
Thank you, Mr. Shinyama.
Good morning, Harry Fergerstrom.
Good morning, Mr. Fergerstrom.
Morning, Your Honor. Lincoln Ashita representing Pueo.
Thank you, Mr. Ashita. Good morning to you.
Aloha.
Pardon me. Mr. Ashita, nobody present with you?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Warfield had a 9:30 meeting this morning.
And if he appears and you would like his presence to be noted, please do indicate.
I will, Judge. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. And good morning.
Aloha, Mehana Kihoi.
Good morning, Ms. Kihoi.
Morning.
Aloha, Lanny Sinkin for the Temple of Lono.
Aloha, Mr. Sinkin.
Morning, Dwight Vicente.
Good morning, Mr. Vicente. Perfect.
Good morning, Lena Alice Lightholm.
Good morning, Ms. Lightholm.
Aloha Kako, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kealoha.
Aloha, Cindy Freitas.
Good morning, Mrs. Freitas.
Aloha, William Freitas.
Good morning, Mr. Freitas. CM Kanuha. CM Kanuha. Not present. Joseph Kamara. Joseph Kamara. Not present. Mailani Lee. Mailani Lee. Not present. Kaliko Lehua Kanaile. Kaliko Lehua Kanaile. Not present. Stephanie Tabata. Stephanie Tabata. Not present. Tiffany Kakalia. Tiffany Kakalia. Not present. Glenn Keela. Glenn Keela. Not present. And good morning to Mrs. Holy, who's present. I have a couple of announcements regarding scheduling. I'll give you a moment to get pen and paper. We were at, with a lot of extra effort, Mr. Lemo and Ms. China were able to get back Friday, December 2nd and Friday, December 16th. We just couldn't get the 9th and we couldn't get this Friday. So I'm happy to give us 2 extra days in December Again, the 2nd and the 16th. And we have looked into January already, and I'm ready to announce those dates as well. And let me say that we are able to get all the dates from Monday through Thursday in January. So these are, and I'm going to make an additional announcement, because you folks might recall Mr. Fergerstrom indicated that he had asked for some leave in January for something very, very important. And those dates were January 13 through 18, and I'm inclined to give that leave. But, so let me give you first of all the dates that are available, and then the dates that we will take. So the dates that are available are January 2nd, that's a Monday, through and including January 5th, that's a Thursday. January 9th, that's a Monday, through and including January 12th. And we'll note the appearance of Mr. Kanuha. Thank you, Mr. Kanuha. We're just starting to talk about the schedule, so maybe you can check with your neighbor, but I'm locking in the January dates right now. So all the Monday through Thursdays, and continuing where I left off, January 9th, which is Monday, through and including January 12th, and that's a Thursday. We have available January 16th through 19. However, we have a request that nothing be scheduled from the 13th through the 18th, and I'm going to honor that request, unless I hear serious objection, and I'll entertain that later. So for that week, we're only going to go January 19th, Thursday. Then we also have January 23rd through and including January 26th, that's a Monday and a Thursday, so right through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that week. And then we have Monday and Tuesday, which for January, and that's Monday and, 30th and 31st. So that's an additional about 14 days, I think. I didn't really count it up. It's probably more than that, maybe 14 or 15 days. And we should be, if we're moving forward as I hope, right in the heart of all the petitioners' direct examinations. So the pace is going to change a little bit. It's just the nature of the way the case is laid out. And again, I remind you that the written direct testimony should already be filed. If there is additional written direct testimony that you intend to file, do so as soon as possible, because you are more apt not to get objections if you do it early. But if you file it the day before you expect to put a witness on, I think some people are going to feel like they didn't have enough time. So please, please consider filing your written direct testimony. Should already be filed, but if you have a good reason to file additional, then it certainly will allow that. Mr. Flores, if you don't mind, I wanted to finish a few things, but I won't forget to recognize you. Okay? Okay, so I'm thinking that the pace is going to start to change, and when we're in the petitioner side of the case, and of course the number of witnesses will probably change, but that's entirely up to you folks, and we deal with it as we go forward. The other thing I want to remind you of, very, very important, you might remember that I told you we uploaded samples of the findings and conclusions. We gave you 3 different samples. They have nothing to do with this case. I don't think they have anything to do with telescopes. I don't know. I didn't look at them myself, but I certainly will. I'm going to ask that you use the in-between breaks to please start your drafting, because these are pretty extensive documents. And it's my intention to give you, once we close the evidence, the court reporter will need some time to complete her transcripts, and we're still working on the transcripts and trying to check on whether they can be made available or not. But after the transcripts are completed by the court reporter, that is going to trigger, and I'll do it by minute order, that is going to trigger the time you have to submit your findings. And my intention at this time is just to give you 2 weeks. We can talk about that as we go forward, because we have to evaluate it at the moment when we look back and see how much testimony we have and all of those kinds of things. All right. So please get started on that. My intention is 2 weeks. We can talk about it later, but it's not an easy thing to write. It's difficult for us as well, me as well. So I'm starting myself to get going on some kind of a draft, not on a decision because I haven't heard all the evidence. I will not make a decision till I hear everything. But certainly the findings can be started because we've already completed various things that are going to be in the findings. So I'm just asking you to please consider that. So Mr. Flores, I give you the podium now.
And Kalani Flores. I just wanted to address the schedule. I wanted to ask again, January 2nd to be off because January 1st is New Year's Day and celebrations and people are traveling and so forth. So I'm asking in January 2nd for it not to be held.
Okay, just give me a minute.
Sure.
If we can take a show of hands to see if anyone objects. I think that might be the. If you could, I'm going to ask.
The request is to not schedule on a hearing date on December 2nd. January 2nd, which is just following the holiday of January 1st of the new year.
Okay. So just to be efficient if we can, and if necessary, we'll do the roll call way. But if you object to us taking off on January 2nd, please raise your hand. All right, so nobody has raised their hand. I'm looking at the parties who were indicated present, including Mr. Kanuha. And so we'll take off on January 2nd. Thank you.
And the second item I want to bring up, since you mentioned it, was regarding the completion of the findings of facts and conclusions of law. I know that 2 weeks is insufficient time. With the amount of testimony that we just went through and we haven't even gone through, there's something where it's near to 60 to 80 witnesses. 2 weeks is not a sufficient amount of time. Even in the last contested case hearing, we had more than a month at least to prepare, and we didn't even have the same type of number of witnesses here. So 2 weeks is, I'm just stating for the record, 2 weeks is insufficient for anyone to prepare, especially those who are pro se. Thank you.
There are things that I have done. I hope we've arranged to have uploaded samples so everyone can see them. We have big gaps in between, so I'm hoping folks work on it during that time. And I've already said we certainly will reconsider it at the end of the day when we have a chance to look back and figure out everything.
Okay, I'm just noting my objection to just 2 weeks. Thank you.
Understood. And Ms. Pisciotta?
Aloha. At the end of yesterday, I was making a statement about ex parte communications, and I just want to put that on the record, if I may.
Sure.
At this time. I want to object to ex parte communications. I want to also describe that there were a bunch of people convening here.
Where's here?
Right around this area right here.
Where you're standing by the podium in the middle of the room?
Yes. And I came up because I thought, oh, well, what's happening? Sam Lemo was here also. So I inquired with Sam, what are we talking about? And he said scheduling. And I said, oh, well, I think we all want to participate in that conversation. We should be participating in that conversation. Then he walked away over to here, and I followed him because I thought he was mumbling, so I thought he was going to talk to me over here maybe. I didn't know. Then he made a statement that he didn't have time for this. He was a bit aggravated. I did point that out to Julie, and she just looked at me like it was a long day, which it was, and so that's why I came to address it with you. I do object.
Well, you mentioned it to me, but I said that you should put it on the record in the morning.
Yes, that's correct.
I didn't know any of the details.
No, that's right. And so members of Tim Luis-Kwan was here, and I don't know everyone who was here, but none of us were there. So
none of us is who?
Meaning either the Mauna Kea and Nainoho petitioners or anyone else. So I just want to make the record that I object to that ex parte communication. Sam also pointed out that he's not a party, which is probably true, and that's fine, but it's the subject matter that I believe is ex parte, and I know that we do scheduling with you, and so I'm just making the record.
But
oh yeah.
Okay, and I just want to say that I'm here with you folks, and I don't actually make the phone calls or do anything else. I rely on other people, but I'm going to let other people speak, and then we'll address that.
And just lastly, I do believe the state is supposed to be not taking sides or in an advocacy role or any of that, because we are just as much a member of the public that they serve. So I just want to make that on the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Ching, you were standing next.
Clarence Ching. I'd like to join in the objections of Kalani Flores and Kealoha Pisciotta. Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Luis-Kwan?
So, Judge, for the record, I'll actually state what Mr. Lemo had asked me. He asked me to confirm on whether or not we could actually find any facility that the University of Hawaii or HCC would actually have for the Fridays we're in here. So it wasn't scheduling hearings, it was to confirm that we could actually check. And I said we would pass it along to see whether or not we could try to restore some of the dates, as well as see if there are available facilities that could house or hold, as I forget the number of people that you wanted, and that's all he had asked was a question, and I confirmed it by saying yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to make the record clear also that it was at my request because we had lost the 4 days. Mr. Ng had complained that there was a lot of planning that had gone by, been done by everyone for expecting that the 4 days were going to be there. I asked Mr. Lemo to do the best he could to get as many days as we could and to go forward and get the days for January. And I think I told you folks before I asked our staff to inquire about January. I told you folks in the morning first thing, and I said we were going to look into it. And so that's what he was doing. And I said, ask the university again. I'm willing to take a room that's less than 150. If we have to take a room that's 100, they have a classroom, but they usually have classes. I asked if they could even consider the possibility of moving those classes to another room, because we really need hearing dates that we can rely on. So all of us, because like you folks, I prepare for the next day, and if things change, and we all have to prepare again. That's how it is. So that's what they were doing. I suspect, given what Mr. Luis-Kwan has said, and unless Ms. Pisciotta, otherwise, I think that's probably what Mr. Lemo was doing. I did not discuss anything with Mr. Lemo. Just that I asked him to specifically ask the university for any dates, look again at the classroom, see what we can do. We have to lock something in. And fortunately, they were able to go back to the Naniloa, get 2 more Fridays back, and then get this scheduled for the Naniloa in January. So, Ms. Pisciotta, I apologize to you. It was not something that I asked, put out there to everyone, because I expect that we are the ones who have to do the task of finding someplace.
I do understand. I'd just like to say a couple of things. One is, Sam could have just explained that to me. I don't appreciate his reaction and to me at all. I was not aggravated when I was asking him. I was just simply inquiring what is the discussion about. Also, for the record, in the last contested case hearing, we actually found the places, secured places. Ms. Ward helped do that. So I would still like to say that we should have been party to the discussion on some level, because we can help also.
I don't know anything about the last hearing except what I've been hearing through this hearing. So where were you folks the last time?
At the Komohana Ag Extension.
And how many people does that place take? It's under destruction?
Construction. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like deconstruction, I don't know. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay,
That's all.
That place takes 100, and I was looking for some, based on our first day that we had the hearing in Hilo, where 100 and almost 120 people were here. That's the day that is in my memory, and so I've been trying to use that as kind of a benchmark, and therefore it really limited the places we could look to. And of course, I've been trying to get air conditioning. We can go back to the Y. They were happy to have us and so gracious, but it was pretty uncomfortable that there.
Yeah, it was.
So, but I do want to apologize to you, Ms. Pisciotta. I was putting a lot of stress on our staff, because I really want to accommodate the parties. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and I take note of Mr. Flores and Mr. Ching's objections, and I imagine everybody else, about the 2-week limitation. And as I said, I'm giving you sort of so you can anticipate something, but I hope that you see that we have not been unreasonable, and that the application of all the rules and everything else procedurally will take into account all the facts when we make the final decisions about deadlines and all these other things. Ms. Ward?
I appreciate the fact that you're making efforts to get a transcript for us, and I certainly hope that's successful. I can attest to the fact that last time we only had 7 days of testimony, and it took us more than a month to drag those pieces of the transcript out and put them on paper. And having the format, which you've provided to us somewhat, is helpful, but nevertheless, without a transcript, we do not have anything to refer to. And so we could be writing our notes, which is fine, but then we have to go back into the transcript to find the reference.
And I think I mentioned that the last time I brought this up. So I hear you, I understand. I'm doing the same thing as you. I understand going back through the record is going to take time, but it's going to take a lot more time if you don't start now.
I understand that.
And that's all I'm asking. Please, if people can start now to do the framework, then it will reduce the amount of time you need at the end. So I get that, and the transcripts have been a big issue for a long time. Mrs. Freitas has brought it up many times. I totally understand, and we are really trying. My general impression is that for civil matters, which this is, that transcripts are not available for free. And I've always been under the impression during almost 40 years of practice that we have to pay for transcripts. That I've never gotten anything for free. So we're trying our best. I don't know how many things have changed in 40 years, but the work that I do involves transcripts all the time. So it may be evolving. I do know that the Supreme Court has a committee dealing with the court reporters, and it's comprised of court reporters and lawyers and others. And so I do know that our staff is looking into that through that committee as well. We're trying our best.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a distinct disadvantage if we can't get access, and most of us don't have thousands each to put into it. So,
well, that's true for
everybody.
All the people that come to court in civil matters.
That's true.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm very embarrassed to say, but I have a personal issue, and that is that if we were to get a copy of the transcripts in February, I have a trip that my paralyzed husband is taking to see his grandchild, and I need to take him with me in order for him to get there. And so I'm very concerned that if that 2 week happens to be the 2 weeks in February that I'm going to Florida, it will be even more difficult. So I'm not trying to delay anything. I'm just trying to say it will be almost virtually impossible.
Certainly, we're going to talk about everything together when the time comes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kealoha.
I'm not familiar with the process, but I'm definitely looking at the samples and listening and taking it in and looking around. Being that the schedule really affects my financial ability to be here, am I still able to submit findings of facts for the days I've been here?
You can submit findings of fact for the entire record.
Okay, I don't know how it works, so I'm just asking the question.
The transcripts are going to include, because we've recorded everything from the first pre-hearing conference in May, when you folks were not parties yet. So the transcripts will be a complete record of everything that we've ever discussed.
Okay.
We haven't missed anything.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I thank you very much for your understanding. You know, this is a rather large group, and we've tried to be sure to be fair to everyone, and I thank you for your cooperation. Mrs. Freitas?
Aloha, Cindy Freitas.
Aloha.
Let me get this clear. The transcript going to be from day one of this contestant hearing to the end, correct?
That's what I understand.
So my question is, when we do findings of facts and conclusion of law, would that take place from the beginning to the end of the transcript, or would it be just the evidentiary hearing?
My understanding from the one sample I looked at is from the beginning, including the pre-hearing motions, which were substantial. You know, we spent 2 months on them.
Okay.
Well, more than 2 months, actually.
So we're going to use the whole stack.
Everything.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. And by the way, if I learn otherwise, which I could, I certainly will share that with you. Okay. Mr. Sinkin.
Just so I'm clear, is the state providing you a transcript?
I do not have a transcript.
You do not have a transcript? Okay.
Why would I?
Why would you have a transcript?
Yeah. I'm no different than you guys.
Okay, but I mean, if I refer to something in the transcript, I would think you would need to confirm.
If you have a transcript, most people attach. If you did, you normally. Are you talking about the findings?
When the findings come,
yes,
you will have a transcript?
You know, this is my first hearing too, right? So okay. I don't know, but I would expect that I get a transcript at the end of the case, just like you folks would. I don't know. I believe the state pays for it.
Right, that's what I sort of thought. Okay.
That's what I think. So, but the state will provide that copy to me because I do have to check, and I have to, in my findings, I have to put my own references to the page and line.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Dr. McClaren, you ready to go? I hope we didn't bore you. Mr. Luis-Kwan?
Yes, Judge Amano, I just wanted to announce that we're calling Dr. McClaren up for continued for cross-examination.
Thank you.
Dr. Smith has arrived this morning. He will be able to testify following the conclusion of Dr. McClaren's testimony.
Great. That's great.
If you want to offer proof, He's the professor or chairman emeritus of the Botany Department, University of Hawaii. He'll be speaking regarding flora, impacts on flora, and it's relevant to criterion 4.
Criterion 4.
Correct.
Okay, very good. And I think Dr. Smith was the one that we originally thought would be coming in today.
Correct.
All right, great. Okay, Dr. McClaren, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming back to our hearing. I want to remind you that the testimony that you're about to give is going to continue under the oath you took earlier to tell the truth. Do you agree?
Yes.
Thank you. And I believe we left off with Ms. Freitas.
Aloha, Cindy
Aloha.
Freitas. Okay. We left off talking about the height and the width of any telescope that is a minimum of 130 feet height and 130 feet in width. And you have said it pertains to area A and B. This is correct.
Yes.
In doc number A48, do you have, counsel? A48, which is the master plan 2000, PDF file, page 190,
Okay.
doc page, Roman number 11-5.
Can you repeat that?
PDF file, page 190, doc page, Roman number 11-5.
And the exhibit number is 3?
A-48,
Thank
master
you.
plan 2000.
Thank you. Got it.
Sorry, what was the page number again? I have the document.
Roman number 11-5. Under height and width,
Yes.
could you read the following, the second sentence in there?
The second sentence. The following are maximum dimensions established to guide the design of facilities and regulate the impact of new development.
Okay, when we read, we have to read a little bit slower, please.
Yes. The following are maximum dimensions established to guide the design of facilities and to regulate the impact of development.
Isn't it fair to say TMT is a new development?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you put A3, doc 2-10 up? PDF file, page 54.
Are we finished with this one?
We're not finished with the, yeah, that one we finished, but keep the book there.
Right, A3, and then what was the page number?
2-10. It's a map. Oh. And can you get out 2-8 as well?
Yeah.
Page 52 of A3 on the PDF file, 2-8. I need you to put 2-8 up first.
Okay.
Could you read 1, 2, the third paragraph where it says when?
Yes. When it comes to siting new optical infrared observatories on Mauna Kea, the 2000...
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Is that what you wished?
Yes, but she can't hear you, the hearing officer.
When it comes to siting new optical infrared observatories on Mauna Kea, the 2000 master plan states, quote, the first priority will be the recycling of existing facilities that have aging technology, unquote. In areas A and B, the maximum height and diameter...
Dr. McClaren, excuse me. You need to slow down. The court reporter cannot take you reading that fast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I start again from the beginning?
No, you can go to area... Oh, sorry, that's you.
Yeah.
In areas A and B, the maximum height and diameter of a new observatory is limited to approximately 130 feet by the 2000 master plan. The height and diameter restrictions in areas A and B are related to a number of factors, including visibility, potential impacts to existing observatories, and wind forces. The secondary priority for siting new optical infrared observatories will be at 2 new areas within the astronomy precinct, and only if a suitable summit ridge site cannot be utilized for redevelopment. The 2 new areas identified in the 2000 master plan are areas E and F.
Correct. So in this statement, isn't it true that the location has changed, but the height and width remains the same as the master plan?
No.
Okay, let me.
Perhaps the location of what?
It states in here that the first priority is to build on a recycle. Is that correct?
Yes.
But because A and B it cannot be utilized for redevelopment, it states in there. The 2 new areas identified will be E and F. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So a new observatory will be at the new areas within the astronomy area. The only if the suitable summit ridge site cannot be utilized. Is that correct?
Yes.
So therefore, the location has changed. Is that correct?
Are you asking about the location of the 30-meter telescope?
Correct.
No. There was never any intention of locating the 30-meter telescope on the summit ridge.
what this statement referred to, even though it wasn't on the reg, the first priority states in the master plan stating to use a recycle area, which is A and B. Is that correct?
Objection. Yes. Argumentative, asked and answered.
Well, I'm trying to get to the point where you can't use the ridge. That is correct.
So, ma'am, if you can have the witness testify and you can ask the question directly, maybe that would help.
Okay. So you can't use the ridge. That is no. So the second priority under the master plan states a different location, which is E and F. That's correct.
Yes.
But if you look into the statement here, it did not change the height or the width in the master plan, even though it moved the location. Is that correct?
No, because the height and width restrictions apply only to the summit ridge.
Isn't TMT a new observatory?
Yes.
So would a new observatory under height and width, which you had read earlier, says new observatory, in master plan on height and width, which is page 11-5, it states 130 width, 130 in height. But you could move a location, but it did not move the height or the width of the building. It did not change. Is that correct?
Your Honor, still argumentative.
Let's let this finish off, because I think Dr. McClaren's point is that it doesn't apply. This applies to the summit, and correct. In his testimony, and the TMT plan telescope is not on the summit. That's his testimony. Therefore, what I'm hearing is that restriction does not apply to the TMT.
That is correct. It does not apply.
So if you could ask the question that regarding the point you're trying to make.
The point I'm trying to make, at any given time, that 130 width and 135 feet was never changed in the master plan till today of 2016. Is that correct?
Yes, that restriction on the size of facilities on the summit ridge is still in place.
Okay, can you put that map up on
the map?
And which page again is that?
That is page...
We're looking at
11...
The EIS, the TMT EIS, page 2-10.
A3 exhibit.
A3, yes. A3, figure 2.323.
Can you see what area C is?
Area E?
C.
C.
It's below area E.
In here.
Yeah, the next one. Number 11, can you read number 11? What's on that site of area C?
Number 11 is the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope.
Correct. Is area C considered a ridge?
Area C?
Yes.
No.
So area C is not a ridge?
No.
Do you know when 11 on there was built in area C?
Yes.
And what year was that?
It was completed in 1987, approximately.
So 1987, it was completed. Therefore, the 130 feet and the 130 width apply even in Area C that is not a ridge. Is that correct?
I don't understand the question.
The question is, Area C, is it a ridge or a platform of the adjoining Area E?
Area C is the so-called millimeter valley area. That's not ridge. The ridge areas, in our terminology, are the locations of items 1 through 8 here, going from Subaru, the QTEX, CFHT, and so on. This is what we call the summit ridge.
Correct. But
okay, and that's where this height limitation that was put in the 2000 master plan applies. It doesn't apply anywhere else.
But isn't Area C that was built in that you said, that is considered a plateau? Is that correct?
We don't use that term. We usually refer to just the area E as entirely plateau. But it's certainly not at the top of a cinder cone like areas A and B.
So, hold on. So only Area E is considered a plateau?
I think, well, we don't associate the plateau term with necessarily with specific areas. I think we feel we refer to this area out here as plateau, and certainly Area E is primarily in there, but also the outer parts of Area C, I guess you'd call plateau as well.
Joining to Area E, that's correct.
Yeah.
A partial, so that is
right.
A plateau.
We use that term for it, yes.
So since this telescope was built way back in the 19th, therefore it applies the 130 feet and the 130 width. Is that correct?
No, I don't understand how that could be, because it was finished in 1987 and the master plan was in 2000.
Can you tell me how big is that telescope?
No, not off the top of my head. I can't.
Can you pull out Roman numeral 9-26, doc number page 133 of exhibit A48?
Okay. Again, the page number you wished, 11.
9 Roman number dash 26.
9.
It's a telescope sitting area chart.
Mm-hmm. 926.
Yes. This chart, telescope sitting area in 1983, it states the complex development plan at that time, which is area A, B, C, and D. Is that correct?
Yes.
The update master plan on the left side, the telescope sitting area, it states 2000 to the first foreseen of 2020. And this one has area designation of A, B, C, D, E, F. Is that correct?
Yes.
The only things in here was changed was the acre. Is that correct?
I think not.
If you look at...
I believe that some of the actual, well, obviously, the size of these areas changed, so the boundaries of them changed. Even though the A, B, C, D letter names were retained, they weren't exactly the same area as in the 1983 plan.
Yeah, the 1983 plan, it did not exist at that time, but it does exist in the 2000. Is that correct?
Well, the two, with regard to designating telescope sighting areas, the 2000 plan superseded the 1983 plan.
Thank you. A48, page Roman number 9. Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
22. PDF file 129. Could you read the first sentence in number 1?
Existing astronomy facilities require a clear line of sight to approximately 12 degrees above the horizon in a full circle. Location of proposed new facilities cannot obscure the observation function of the existing telescopes on the mountain. Proposed new facilities must be spaced accordingly within the astronomy precinct.
What does existing astronomy approximately 12 degrees above horizon in full circle means?
What does this first sentence mean?
Correct.
It means that if you wish to view at an elevation 12 degrees above the horizon, it needs to be a clear line of sight. If you cannot have another structure there that blocks that line of sight. So
could you go to A1 CDUA page 712, PDF page 99.
Okay, I have A1. The page number again was?
Hold on. 712.
712.
It must be 199 PDF file. Hold on.
Okay, just to be clear, it's A1, that's the CDUA.
Correct.
And
7-12.
I only go to 6, and then there's appendices. So I'm looking at the main document, not an appendix, and it's the application.
It's a photo simulation.
It's which? A photograph?
Yes, it's a photo simulation, I think it is.
Okay.
And I can't
Did you find
it.
Oh, here we go. Must have been missing.
Figure 7-A on Exhibit A1.
Yes.
That's from the north. Is that would you consider this a 12-degree above the horizon in a full circle?
Do you mean, I don't quite understand the question.
This is coming from near the Kirk, viewing on the north side.
Yes.
Would this consider in Exhibit 48, page Roman number 9-22, states minimum impact on existing facility, existing areas that has a 12-degree above horizon in a full circle?
Okay, if I understand the question, the answer is there's no obstruction above 12 degrees to any existing facility. The TMT in this location doesn't obstruct the view of any existing facility.
But this is the back side of Kirk, on the north side, if you read underneath. So what in your field, coming from the north side of the Kirk Observatory, what degree on the horizon would this be?
It's actually below the horizon. The horizon, this is viewed, as you say, from the north side of the Keck Observatory. That's the assumed vantage point of this artist's conception. And I mean, the horizon is somewhere out around here, right? Right.
So that will be.
So this is definitely not an obstruction because it's below the horizon.
So my question is, what number of degree would this consider at?
Oh.
In your.
Okay. Well, so are we going to talk about the top of the enclosure?
On the horizon, what would this degree?
Looks like it's about 5 degrees below the horizon.
Thank you.
Just guessing.
Okay, Exhibit 48, Roman number 11-5, page 191, PDF.
This is what came from the team. Okay, we're back to 48.
Correct.
And it's 11.
Roman number 11-5.
Yep. We should have kept it.
Under roof, is that the one? It's hold on. Sorry. 6. It's 6. The next one. Could you read the second sentence under roof, identifying the roof?
It says reflective materials are to be avoided. At Halepahaku, roof design, colors, and materials should be compatible with those of the existing built elevation facilities.
Oh, wait. Could you read the top two, roof after the word roof?
Here?
Yes, the same one, the top.
Roof design and material and color selections in conventional structures should merge the facility into the natural landscape.
Can you go to Exhibit A3, doc page 3-03, PDF file 182. Number 3-103. The first paragraph, where it says final, can you read the third sentence in general? It's on the top.
Right. In general, an aluminum-like coating reflects the morning sunrise and evening sunset light and stands out during this period. However, during most of the day, the coating reflects the sky and reduces the visibility of the observatory.
Isn't it true this is a reflective material?
Yes, partially reflective.
Thank you.
Well,
that's all.
Yeah.
Hold on. Exhibit A3, environmental impact statement, volume 1, page doc 2-9.
3-9?
2-9.
2-9.
PDF file 53. In the highlighted area, fourth sentence says 304. Could you read that sentence?
Down,
yes,
down
in
here?
The downside, yeah. That would be the fourth sentence, starting with 3 or 4.
3 to 4 telescopes can be accommodated on the flatter portions within the area with some flexibility in choice of sites based on technical site selection criteria such as laminar wind flow and obscuration.
3 or 4. Isn't this true to say that 3 or 4 telescope means on the northern plateau? Which it identifies in here.
Yes.
Thank you. Could you turn to Exhibit A-39 in the letter that was signed by President of UH, David Lesser, and affirmed by Susan Case, dated November 17, 2015. Could you read the first sentence?
Yes. By this letter, the University of Hawaii clarifies and confirms that the 30-meter telescope TMT project site is the last new area on the mountain where a telescope project will be contemplated or sought.
Isn't it true to say, Exhibit A3, Paragraph 1, that this is not the last new area on the mountain where a telescope project will be contemplated or sought?
No, I wouldn't agree with that statement.
Thank you.
Well, I mean...
Thank you. Exhibit A13, page
A13.
28, PDF file 36.
What page?
28.
A13?
Yeah, Exhibit A13, which is the decommission 28 on the PDF file.
Which page?
28. Number 5, Future of Astronomy on Mauna Kea.
Yes.
Could you read the third sentence?
No, I'm not going to allow him to read. It
Okay,
speaks
I'll
for
read it.
itself. You may ask the question.
In this sentence, the figure of astronomy on Mauna Kea sites, in addition, in the potential of construction of new observatory. Isn't it true that the letter dated on 11/17/15, Exhibit A39, also confirmed that TMT is not the last site?
No.
Thank you.
The letter confirms that TMT is the last site.
But okay, let me rephrase this. When was A13, the decommission, done, completed?
January 2010.
2010. So the letter is dating November 17, 2015.
Yes.
So wouldn't it be true to say, to amend this section that reads, the future of astronomy on Mauna Kea site, in addition to the potential of construction of a new observatory, should have been amended stating that there will be no new observatory after TMT is built.
Yes, I suppose if you were rewriting this document today, you would include the substance of the President's letter.
So wouldn't you think it's fair to say, as it exists today and it was never amended, that it states as it states, in addition to the potential of construction of a new observatory can construct after the TMT?
No, I think the President's letter speaks for itself. It's clear. I mean, it's university policy.
So the question is, if that's the university policy, wouldn't the university policy also amend some of this plans to update the fact of 2015?
In due course, right? Yes.
In due course after 15 years, wouldn't it be fair to update it every 5 years?
Objection. Argumentative. Calls for speculation.
That do not answer, please.
Okay. Let me restructure. My question is, how often does any of this plan amended or updated? Is there a policy?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
If the TMT is not permitted, would the UH be free to propose a new facility at a later time?
I'm sorry, your question was if the TMT is not amended?
Not permitted to build. Would the UH be free to propose a new facility at a later time?
Yes.
Thank you. Exhibit A13, page 25, PDF file 33.
A13, page 35?
Yes. Oh, page 25, sorry. In the complete infrastructure removal sentence, the second sentence, question to consider relating to filling this holes. Hold on. Filling this holes includes what type of material and where will it come from and will it be stable? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
The material, which is my kupuna, every pohaku that is on Earth is my kupuna. In the proposed site of TMT, will it leave the mountain down somewhere else? The material that you unearth, which is my kupuna, every rock unturned up there, is it going to be trucked down somewhere else?
Some of it will be removed, but not off the mountain.
So isn't it true to say, question in this second sentence, question to consider relating filling the holes that you unearthed up there of my kupuna, including the type of material where will it come from, and will it be stable?
I don't know it at that level of detail.
Okay, don't know. So, the proposed TMT site, you're going to unearth 6,000 square foot underground to put in 3 5,000 tanks of wastewater tank hazardous tank material, and 2 25,000 tanks of free suppression water line for fire. Is that correct?
I don't know that by heart. If you're reading from a document,
okay. Okay, let's go to liability. You had mentioned yesterday that everyone that is up there, construction, has a liability insurance. Is that correct?
I stated that the observatory operating organizations generally carry liability insurance, yes.
Does that liability, do you know how much that liability insurance have?
No.
Hold on. Do you know if it covers everyone on the mountain besides the UH agency?
No, I don't know that.
The decommission plan, A13, when I was reading that plan, would it be required to get a decommission bond to decommission any facility on the mountain?
The new sublease arrangements will contain provisions that are consistent with the decommissioning plan.
So the new provision, does it include decommissioning bond?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know if there is, that all the contractors up there, is it required by the UH to secure a contractor's bond?
I don't know.
Do you know who would answer that?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further question. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Freitas?
Good morning.
Morning,
Mr. Lassiter. First of all, are you a resident of Hawaii?
Yes.
Do you vote?
No.
Are you a resident of Hawaii Island?
No.
Do you have real estate on Hawaii Island?
No.
Do you have real estate in Hawaii?
Objection, Your Honor, to relevance and request an offer of
Where are
proof.
we going with this, Mr. Freitas?
I just want to know where he lives, and I mean, if he's a resident, whether he votes, or if he's a part of Hawaii, political and real estate system that goes on here in Hawaii.
And why is that relevant to the issues in the case?
Because I'm a native Hawaiian, and I have rights that are protected, and the observatories that are on Mauna Kea are infringing on my spirituality. That's the reason why.
So why is Dr. McClaren's real estate situation relevant to that?
He answered the question. I don't need any further information on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please continue then.
Thank you. Sorry. Oh my God, I got the wrong glasses. Sorry. Yesterday you said that there were discussions going on about scheduling the decommissioning of telescopes, one at a time. Is that right? You recall that?
I believe I said there was a feeling that it would be best to decommission telescopes one at a time, yes.
Okay. Do you know who is having those discussions? Are you part of that discussion?
Yeah, I have been part of them, part of some of those discussions.
Could you name who else is in those discussions?
Office of Mauna Kea management people.
Board?
I haven't had any discussions with the Mauna Kea Management Board, no.
Who will be making the scheduling for the decommission process?
It would be a combination of the entities involved and responsible for the decommissioning and their consultation with the Office of Mauna Kea Management.
And are you part of those parties?
No.
Okay, yesterday I witnessed you testify. I believe it was when Mr. Kealoha Kamahana was questioning you, and you said that you admitted that there was your choice to take the role of the decommissioning area on the master plan.
I believe what I said is I was asked to provide testimony on this subject, and I agreed.
So you're just here to provide testimony on decommissioning?
Yes, and especially on the section of the decommissioning plan that deals with the extent of ongoing development. That was the focus of my testimony.
When was the first time that you experienced being an astronomer on Hawaii, on Mauna Kea?
1980.
And I see in your curriculum, or whether your experience here, that you've been part of the Canada France for a number of years.
Yes.
So your experience on Mauna Kea as an astronomer, is it?
Yes, I'm an astronomer at Canada Francois Telescope and then at UH.
So while you were there is that the first observatory on Mauna Kea that you experienced?
No.
What was the first observatory you experienced on Mauna Kea?
It was the NASA Infrared Telescope facility.
That was in?
That was 1980.
1980. So while you were occupied working on Mauna Kea as an astronomer, how many observatories have you witnessed being built?
Since, it was the starting date was the 1980 date or my UH?
Sure, I believe if you were at NASA Infrared,
since then.
Since 1980, I'm sure you witnessed how many observatories?
Well, I can list them. Since then, Caltech submillimeter, James Clerk Maxwell, the Very Long Baseline Antenna, Subaru, both KEX, Gemini, and submillimeter array. I wasn't keeping the count, but those are the ones.
Okay. So the KEK was built before the Subaru?
The first KEK was.
The first KEK was built before the Subaru?
Yeah, well before it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the second KEK is like the second dome?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So two domes weren't erected at the same time?
That's correct, they were not.
Are you sure about that?
As sure as I can be.
Okay. In these facilities, are there any lavatories or wash basins?
Yes.
And has mercury been used for cleaning the telescope lens?
No.
Throughout your experience up on Mauna Kea?
No.
Never?
Mercury has never been used for cleaning anything.
Wasn't there a mercury spill in one of the observatories?
Yes, there has been a mercury spill.
So what is mercury used for in observatories?
Mercury is used in some of the observatories use mercury as part of the mechanical support system for the mirror, in particular the support around the edges of the mirror. The mercury in these cases is contained inside a big donut-shaped tube, right, that goes around the circumference of the mirror.
Can I ask you, do you know how much mercury has been transported up to Mauna Kea from 1980 to present day?
No, I can't tell you that. I do not know the number.
Is it over a ton?
I would think not. I think it would be less than a ton, but again, I'm guessing.
Are you sure about that?
Not at all.
Okay.
No.
Yesterday I witnessed you as you testified about the decommissioning of the telescope, and I kind of can't remember who it was. I believe maybe it was Ching or Kealoha, or was it Fergerstrom? One of those cross-examiners. And you had mentioned about the decommission process. that upon decommissioning, that the process would eliminate the visual view of the telescope, of a telescope being removed off the Mauna Kea?
Yes, I remember saying something like that.
Okay. And you also said that whatever is underground would remain there?
I said that in some situations that could happen. I mean, that's to be determined in the course of working out the details of the decommissioning.
So as Mrs. Freitas was examining you this last couple of questions as far as the decommissioning process, or rather the master plan, is there a new future revised plan in process right as we speak?
Not as we speak.
But there is an intent to have a new revised plan?
Yes.
So during the experience of watching all these development of Mauna Kea, did you see a significant additional increase of observatories, scientists, visitors?
You mean since my first arrival till now?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you would say that it is a significant impact on Mauna Kea?
I would not say that. I mean, I'm not, sounds like an EIS kind of determination.
I wasn't here to testify, cross-examine Mr. Hayes, but I'm sure you're well acquainted with him.
I'm aware that the EIS for the TMT says something similar to what you just said.
And in the EIS, the decommissioning plant part is in there too, isn't it?
The EIS, I believe, discusses the decommissioning step for the TMT, yes.
So yesterday when you testified that when Mr. Kealoha, I believe, asked you, was this management, was it Office of Mauna Kea Management, when you took the role of being to testify as the decommission testimony, I believe, there was a choice, you said. You made that choice. You could have chosen something else to testify on. Am I correct?
I can only repeat what I've said before. I was asked to do it and I agreed.
Okay. So, but you had a choice to choose maybe testify on the EIS?
I wasn't given any list of things and asked to choose. I was simply asked to do this.
Have you ever have any experience in decommissioning a building?
No.
Thank you. So if there is any decommissioning...
I should qualify that a little bit. The only experience anything like that was the removal of the 24-inch so-called planetary patrol telescope that we took off the mountain in the early 1990s.
And where was that located?
It was located where Gemini is now. It was a small facility, and we removed it in order to provide the site for Gemini. But it's the only Only my only direct experience with decommissioning any facility on Mauna Kea.
So in decommissioning, that telescope qualifies you to decommission a telescope that can be as big as TMT?
No. That was a Summit Ridge site.
On the Summit Ridge, where these telescopes are located, majority of them, are they located on a cinder cone?
I would say they all are.
Will TMT be located on a cinder cone?
No.
So in the facilities, you know that there are wash basins and laboratories in there that are connected to cesspools.
They're connected to wastewater systems, yes.
Do they leach into the ground?
Septic systems do, yes.
Thank you. Do you know if any of these contaminants have leached into the ground on the ridge of Mauna Kea Observatory?
So, sorry, what you said contaminants?
Yes, like mercury,
Not
hydraulic oil.
I think there have been some instances of oil. I'm not aware of any instances of mercury into soil.
How's about gasoline? Diesel?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Thank you. Would you agree it's safe to say that more development on Mauna Kea will cause more contamination?
No.
It would not cause more contamination?
I wouldn't agree with that general statement, no.
And how confident can you tell me that?
Well, you asked for my opinion, a projection, and I gave it to you.
Okay, so there's accidents that have happened on Mauna Kea, right?
Yes.
So with more development up there, you would agree that there is no potential additional contamination to Mauna Kea?
I didn't say there's no potential. I said that I didn't think it was likely. I mean, I think
so you're not sure?
I can't predict the future, so I can't be sure.
Mr. Listener, are you going to be retired soon?
Mr. Freitas.
Yes.
This is Dr. Robert McClaren.
Oh, sorry. Who am I talking to?
I don't know.
See, everyone's got me all confused here, you know. They bring up witnesses right off the snap of the finger.
He was here yesterday all day.
McClaren. What did I address him in the beginning?
Lesnar.
Oh my goodness. I think I'm asking him the wrong questions. But thank you for answering whatever I've been asking.
I might agree with that.
So, okay. Well, I should have read the title on this testimony here. But anyway, getting back to the, you have your testimony in front of you? Exhibit, the testimony. In the second paragraph,
it's wandered off somewhere here.
Okay, I can read it for you so you can. I know I have it. Mrs. Freitas put you through a lot of searching there. your first page, the second paragraph.
Yeah.
There's an Exhibit 38. I believe it's a letter to Suzanne Case.
That's the letter is Exhibit 39.
Okay, 39.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for correcting that. I wrote it down. Anyway, what I was getting to, so I believe yesterday, as you testified, that the process of the decommissioning notice, which is, I believe, is called the Notice of Intent, NOI.
Yes.
According to this sentence in the second paragraph. Has that notice been submitted to the board of Suzanne Case?
My understanding is that the notices for CSO and Kahookahi have been submitted to Office of Mauna Kea Management. Yeah.
Okay, so that letter is not the NOI.
The letter A39, is that what you're, no, not at all, no.
Okay. I would assume that that letter is actually only a acknowledgement.
The letter is a response to the request from Governor Ige on two of the issues that he raised.
But the notice of intent has not been submitted.
No, the notice of intent for two of the three has been submitted.
So there is a notice of intent?
For CSO and for Kahookahi.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But is there an exhibit of the notice of intent?
Oh, no. I see what you're asking. So, is this a piece of evidence?
Yes.
No.
So there is no evidence or exhibit of notice of intent?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So I could assume right now myself that there is no process of decommissioning.
I think you could assume, well, I wouldn't agree with that assumption, but I guess you're free to assume whatever you want.
Well, according to this paragraph, doesn't it, I understand it as if in order for the process of decommissioning,
yeah,
this notice of intent would have to be submitted.
Yes.
So how would I know if it's been submitted?
You'd have to believe what I told you.
How can I believe? Well, you know,
I'm under oath.
And I know you're under oath.
And I said that I have knowledge that those were submitted.
I heard you testify yesterday that Native Hawaiians are highly revered, the culture is highly revered on Mauna Kea, is that correct?
I think it is, yes.
Do you believe that the infringement of all these telescopes, including the TMT, is not infringing on Native Hawaiian spiritual practices and spiritual being?
I think that I agree and acknowledge what it says in the EIS on that issue, and I believe it says something close to what you just said. Yes, it does say that there is an impact.
Do you believe that the TMT should be built?
Yes.
So with that said, you agree that it's okay to disrespect Native Hawaiian cultures and practices?
No, because I think that involves an assumption that I don't agree with, I wouldn't accept.
Thank you. Yeah. No further questions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freitas. Mr. Kanuha, may I address you, please? Yesterday we began the examination of this witness, Dr. McClaren. you were not present, so in order we passed you. Do you wish to testify, or rather cross-examine this witness? And if so, are you prepared to do this right now?
No, I don't wish to cross-examine him. I know I missed my turn yesterday because I was sick, and I'm not ready today, so we'll move on.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kanuha. Any redirect examination of Dr. McClaren?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, Dr. McClaren, thank you again for returning today.
Okay.
Let's take a 10-minute recess, and then when we recommence, it'll be Dr. Smith.
That's correct.
All right, very good. Thank you.